Hey guys, I did a small city trip to Amsterdam last week, and there are some things that I wanted to share with you that are mostly regarding marketing, community management, and maybe psychology of the crowd. So I'm back in beautiful Belgrade right now, and I just want to lay out the difference that I see in culture and how I think it also relates to strength of the individual, or strength of the place that they're in. So what I noticed in Amsterdam, if you walk around, you see a lot of weakness in the people there. One, it's a very rich country, so it reminds me a bit of the peak of Rome, where everybody's just indulging in food and alcohol and lust and just doing whatever they want without actually having to do any work, because their parents have money or they make money with some sort of job that doesn't really add value to society, so they can just hang on Instagram and dress nice and do all these things. However, what struck me most is the general weakness in the individual that you see, which I noticed that if you walk around and you try to strike eye contact, people look away quite quickly, and you can really feel that the character, the substance in the person is really lost. In comparison, if you walk around in Belgrade, you look at people, they look back at you, and they look back at you in a way like, what do you want from me? Which also has a bit of an aggressive touch to it, and I think it's also because the Balkans, they had some sort of trauma, and I don't think it's really good to be always on edge. But Serbians really stick together, and Serbians have really clear rules of ethics, clear rules of working with each other, which is non-existent in the Netherlands. For example, you walk around in Amsterdam, everybody tries to sell you drugs, and we don't mean it's a drug city. But if you would start doing that in Belgrade, for example, starting to sell drugs on the street, people itself would start to defend the country, because there's a clear rule of ethics, it being one of the most Christian Orthodox, or maybe the most Christian Orthodox countries or cities in the world, is that people know how to behave because there's a clear rule of ethics. You walk around in Amsterdam, this is non-existent. And you see a very similar thing that I think happened in France over the years, that this role or rule of ethics or way of behaving is completely lost. And I'm not going to start to blame immigration for it. I think it's really a big part of the problem. But it's more, if you build a community, you need to have clear rules, and you also need to have clear enemies. Serbia, clear enemies, NATO, Europe. So if you talk to a taxi driver here, he tells you everything we do, the West ruins us. So they wake up every day energized to kind of defeat the West. If that's true or not, I don't know. But it gives that community a purpose to keep fighting. If you ask people in the Netherlands, they're just too afraid to get cancelled or Me Too'd or LGBTQ overrolled if they just say anything that is some sort of offensive. So this whole culture has been so weakened down that nobody really has any opinion anymore. And then it gets very easy for new ideologies or agenda to take over that community, like a little Trojan horse, and take everybody over. So it was a really interesting community lesson for me, that if you look at the people of a country, if they don't have clear rules, if there's no religion, if there's no clear enemies, there's nothing holding them back from just one diverging into internal disorder, doing whatever they feel like, and at some point being overtaken by maybe an agenda, religion, or ideology that is much stronger than what they believe in, because they don't believe in anything. And I think that's also why Islam is so growing so fast also in Europe, because who are you fighting against, right? I mean, Roman Catholic, nobody's really Roman Catholic, nobody's really Protestant. But if you would come to Serbia and you would be like, guys, let's just build 20 mosques here, which I like Islam. I think is a great religion. It's a very clear and strict values, and I appreciate that. But that just wouldn't happen here, because the community is so strong and so integrated that it protects itself. So if you want to take those lessons to build a community, what you gotta make sure is clear rules, dude, clear enemies, much more enemies, and tell your community every day that if they don't have their shit together, at some point it's gonna end up in a very bad way. For example, there was a school shooting here 3 weeks ago, and people were traumatized not only because of this horrible incident, but also because they said now we're like America. Now we're like these American bastards that have school shootings with no religion and no control. So there's a clear vision of the future. What would happen if they do not stick together, if that religion is lost, if that family aspect is lost. And yeah, just do a good job of reminding your community members of those things, and I think it's going to have a very, very, very big impact on how this community is able to protect itself, grow itself, and inspire others to join that community. Cheers from Belgrade, guys. Let's crush it.